Hello, this is First Fire Non-Assault Move. Welcome back to the 12th video in the War in the East series. Let's look at the situation report for our army groups. We'll look at the Finns. Not much has changed. They are remaining in place up against the Soviets in and around Leningrad, and we'll be moving the Finns down to this Finnish no attack line. Army Group North, the situation remains the same, and the objectives for the week are to continue to attack across the breadth of Army Group North's front, seeking to make some more gains, push the Soviets back, and try to get the front aligned with Army Group Center. Looking here, that real strong push we had with Army Group Center, which just kind of petered out, has created a bulge, a salient, more of a bulge, not a salient, because it's pretty vast in scope. It almost encompasses the entirety of Army Group Center. We'd like to line up Army Group North as best as we can with them, align the front to shorten our lines and get these bends out of our lines. This is concerning. We don't have the forces available to really reduce the Soviets down in this area, and it's such intractable terrain to really conduct offensive operations, especially with mechanized and troops. It's all going to be infantry, and the Soviets are just massing here, and this is the troublesome area, I feel, or the area where we will have some trouble if we don't do something about it. Soviets have so many forces here. They could start pushing these forces to the west and get them up against our troops, our front, and they're definitely going to start outnumbering us even more so than they are now. But they're being extremely cautious to not let anything happen with the Finns, even though we can't attack across this line. So the Soviets look right now to be a little cautious protecting Leningrad, but I soon expect to see a lot of these forces arriving at their front. So that will be even more, a greater Russian troop density in Army Group North's area of operations, which really puts pressure on advances to the east with Army Group Center, because that is our northern flank for Army Group Center, and we have to be mindful of what's building up there to the north. The line is pretty thin with the Soviets, and they realize that this is not the main line of effort for our Army Group Center forces. This is not the axis of advance. So they've only lightly defended, knowing that we're really not going to be able to do much damage even though it's lightly defended. Which is kind of giving me the inclination that I want to continue attacking south and east with Army Group Center to take advantage of this lightly defended line. And as we were talking about aligning the Army Group North front with Army Group Center, I'd like to get Army Group South lined up more with Army Group Center. There's this bend again, and I don't like it. It just stretches our lines thin. The Soviets have tons of troops to spare to just stretch lines to the horizon, but we do not. Alright, so that's Army Group Center. Didn't really talk about a plan for Army Group Center. I'm still mulling that over. I'm still considering attacking south and east as Bryansk as a rough objective. I'd like to get maybe a few more of these smaller encirclements just to chip away as much as we can into the Soviets' force pool, because they keep coming. They keep coming from the far reaches of the east, and we have to destroy more. Alright, so we will move our infantry up against their infantry here, and they no longer have the Dnieper, but there are endless rivers to defend. The Soviets have endless rivers to defend behind, and they are going to take the Passad as the next main line of resistance here. Kiev, this is an odd situation developing here. They're still holding out in Kiev, but we have the threat of the Cherkasy bridgehead, but I don't know if it's much of a threat. We can actually say it's a threat because it hasn't gone very far. Since we established the bridgehead, we've only increased it maybe 10 to 20 miles from when we first established it. That's really on the count of we had all our Panzer Corps down here sitting out of gas, doing nothing for a month, and you know, that's kind of shameful. Really provide to the Soviets the opportunity to get a defensive line established here, which will come back to bite us, I think. As I don't know how we're going to straighten this line with just our Axis miners, and we don't have fuel for our tanks to contribute at all. But that said, I've shifted around panzer divisions within the Panzer Corps to try to even them out, just like our infantry as they've gone through the attack and advancing kind of helter-skelter and a just disjointed front. They've kind of been mixed in amongst each other, so I'm trying to do some reorganizing with our Panzer Corps. So I'm going to take the 38th Panzer Corps, which now has 3 panzer divisions, including the 11th Panzer, and they are also going to go up to Cherkasy. The 3rd Panzer Corps is going to stay down here in the bend, just to help out once fuel finally reaches it, to hopefully take Dnipropetrovsk and I don't even know if I want to try and Zaporez. Probably not how you say it, but yeah. So take these 2 major cities and get up against the Dnieper. If our Axis miners go no further in 1941 than reaching the Dnieper, I guess I don't say that's alright, but at least they will have the Dnieper to help them defend, as we are going to use economy of a force and try to shift as many forces. The focal point for Army Group Center South, Army Group South is now going to be around Cherkasy and Kiev, with the thought of maybe getting some coordination with Army Group Center in the Bryansk, Orel, Kursk, and maybe even Kharkov. Getting out into this wonderful open terrain. So that's about it. It's going to be a pretty vanilla week for us in August. I'm hoping to position our Panzer Corps in the south to be more prepared and in a better combat condition for September and October, and that will be down in the Cherkasy area of operations. So that's it. I'm going to start doing moves, and I will get back to you. Alright, I am back, and we are about ready to click the next turn button, but let's get a situation report. No change with the Finns. Coming down here, we decided to press on with the attack towards Leningrad. I know it's a bold move, but there's not much in front of us right now. And the reason for doing this is that we want to keep pace with the success that the rest of Army Group North is having. Mild successes. Let's show you. Continuous attacks across the entire length of Army Group North's front, and starting to really take its toll, although I'll say we've definitely have high casualties this turn, but the repeated attacks over the last 3 weeks along Army Group North's front has paid dividends. there's only isolated Soviets in front of us right now. We're pushing them back into this horrible, horrible terrain, this swamp. This swamp should have its own name. I mean, like the Pripyat does. It's maybe 100 miles long and about 40, 50 miles wide. So, massive swamp here. We'll probably deviate or redirect the attack out to the south of the swamp. But in any event, the Soviets have been pushed into this swamp, and fighting has been really, really hard fighting. Some good results though. We tried to take Velikaya Luki, but we failed. The 56 could not knock these two Soviet divisions out of there. They did try to do it solo, but they weren't able to. Nonetheless, really mauled these divisions here, and point out that with army groups, all three army groups, there was a significant amount of routes that we caused on the Soviets. Pretty obvious right now, just looking at this in this area right here. So that's wonderful, wonderful news, and we really fragmented this front. And by doing so, we're going to take that pressure off where this heavy concentration of Soviets are on the northern shoulder of Army Group Center. All right, moving down to Army Group Center, refitting the 24th Panzer Corps. Didn't really have much for them to do this turn. They could have been committed to the south, where we shifted our axis of attack again, but I think I wanted to keep them just as a reserve force and refit them. Take turns, these Panzer Corps, to refit, and this week 24th is refitting. Pretty I'd say pretty strong divisions of our own holding this northern shoulder, but still concerned. If we hadn't got all those routes, it would look even worse, but not sure just how strong they are. We have two divisions here, so they're massing up. They could still counterattack here and there. I think they will, but we have our Panzer Corps in reserve in case it gets a little dicey. Same with the like the front, the easternmost sector of Army Group Center, just holding the line as we redirected the Panzer Corps to break out towards Bryansk, which is pretty good. Another another great amount of routed units that we caused in this sector as well. You can see they're all regrouping around Orel, trying to reconstitute and get replacements in, get new leadership, organization. So they'll be out of commission for a while, which is great. We couldn't take Bryansk this turn. Two strong divisions sitting in a city, so that wasn't going to go too well. We didn't even try. We are looking, with this penetration here, to, again, keep the Soviets off balance, keep their lines disrupted, and cause casualties in sectors where they're more lightly defended, and we have greater combat power to apply upon them and cause those casualties. We're thinking that maybe we could get a little bit of an encirclement here. My guess is that they are definitely going to start retreating off of the Besid River. Yeah, the Besid River. Feeling, again, the spidey senses that there are Panzer Corps to the north of them and threatening an encirclement. So they may have to concede this river line and probably try to set up shop behind the Snov River? Or is that a U? Snoy River? Yeah, we may be able to catch a few. We'll see how that goes. But the road to Bryansk and Orel looks pretty open. That would extend our front a great deal. And the more the front's extended, the more that peels away those critical infantry divisions that are so vital for punching through the Soviets' line and opening up holes for the panzer divisions. So we're going to try and shorten our lines. We want to make gains as best we can, but we also need to maintain that combat power, that punch, without getting too spread thin. Our own divisions along this more quiet sector have just moved up to try to make contact with the Soviets, and the Soviets retreated so fast we couldn't even make contact in some places. Chernigov is still occupied, and we are now finally through the swamp. I think we have most of the hexes in our control. Just waiting, these divisions just waiting their turn for other actions north and south of them to get these Soviets just to retreat back so that they won't fear encirclement. I doubt I will attack over. I may have the Italians relieve this corps in place and shift them south or north. Probably north. I think I'll shift them north. Alright, going down to Kiev. We did some shuffling and reorganization with our infantry corps. Now we just have a screen around Kiev. Didn't bother to try and tack into the city. Threatening from the north, giving them the Soviets something to think about. The reason for that is we shifted 3 to 4 infantry divisions south, and actually they made it over the Dnieper into the bridgehead, where we had some brutal attacks this turn. Just punching forward, trying to finally disrupt and push back the Soviets so that they can no longer contain this bridgehead. All right, so with that in mind, this will be the new focus of our main line of effort for Army Group South. And I think we're going to have some success here. Possibly breaking out and encircling the Soviets that have committed themselves to the defense of Kiev. So possibly just getting an encirclement here. But this may do it now for the Soviets. Too much threats on their flanks. They're going to pull out of Kiev. Oh, these airfields are so tantalizingly close. If they remain there, next turn we are going to bust east and try to overrun these airfields and get some fuel out of it. Alright, so again, we started to feed our Panzer Corps from the far south up to the Cherkasy bridgehead. We have now the 31st Panzer Corps in refit mode. And it's a pretty hefty corps. We now have... Oh, did we not? 31st. Oh, it's the 38th that we have several. Okay, that's good to know. I can redistribute and assign another Panzer Division to the 31st. That's the 31st as well. So they only have 2 31st. That's the 36. Okay, all these 30s are throwing me off a little bit. All right, so we have the 31st, the 36th, and it's a bunch of 30s. We're about to have the 38th Panzer Corps, which has the 11th Panzer as part of it. Yeah, I reassigned, and that is going to be one of our main striking forces to exploit and hopefully get some significant operational successes out of the Cherkasy bridgehead. With the reassignments, we left 3rd Panzer Corps here, and 3rd Panzer has 3 strong divisions just to have a little operational reserve in the Dnieper Bend. We're not at the Don yet. The Dnieper Bend, as we have to clear these Soviets out of this curve, and it's annoying. I really want to dress these lines, and we'll have to make an effort towards that, and I think the 3rd Panzer Corps will be essential for that. It's a pretty thin line, but I wanted to show you how many tank divisions the Soviets have down here. There's 1, 2, let's include mechanized as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 tank divisions. 8 tank divisions and 1 mechanized division. All down here near Nikolaev and the Crimea. When they're alone like that and we have an infantry division do a deliberate attack, they're really at a disadvantage because they don't have supporting infantry with them. So we can cause some pretty good damage against them. We'll see some losses, and Soviets lost a lot of tanks again this turn. Alright, so they are just going to make sure there is nothing compromised along this front and actually go on the offensive as well. So finally, we took Odessa, and now there's just 2 Soviet divisions holding out, and they are completely out of supply. So I think even the good Romanian divisions here will be able to take care of them, and then finally applying pressure down through here and just seal off the Crimea. I don't have any intention right now in this year to conduct offensive operations into the Crimea. I mean, if we can, similar to Army Group North, we just patiently make these attacks and disrupt and fragment the Soviets' line, we might be able to take Dnipropetrovsk and I cannot say that town. I have to look at what it phonetically is said, how you phonetically pronounce it, and I'll be better at that. So these 2 major industrial cities, I think we'll be able to take in the next couple of weeks. I'm feeling confident about that. So where are we going to go out of the Cherkasy bridgehead? That's a good question. I think we're going to let it play out, and it'll be METTC, which you always say to your boss when you don't have a firm plan. METTC, sir. So we'll let the mission, the enemy, time, terrain, troops all determine where we may shift our axis of advance. I don't want to go back south. Nope. So that means either east to Kharkov or punching north and east to maybe get some kind of a pseudo encirclement of these Soviets and get into this all this beautiful open terrain. Kharkov, I kind of took off the objective list maybe a month ago, actually. As we're ending in July, we were thinking that Kharkov was unreachable, and I think rightly so. We saw what happened to the tanks here with the fuel situation. They sat pretty much unable to do anything for 3 weeks, so would have been stranded out here. Maybe that would have been better in the end than getting stranded down in this bend of the Dnieper. But I thought we could do it. I overlooked how just severe and terrible the fuel situation would have been. What it became. So, oh well, trying to rectify that and shift focus. And I think with this last turn, we are like through the lines. They just have some severely damaged and mauled divisions in front of us in this part, in this sector of the bridgehead. Still strong, very strong. I won't say very strong, but 3 divisions here and just 2 there. So stronger here. And oh, there are 3 tank divisions right there. I would love to get these divisions encircled, because really there's nothing behind them. So I think more than likely that is what we will attempt to do out of this bridgehead. All right, I'm going to take one quick pass to see if I have anything left to move, and I'll be right back. All right. So, I think I got everybody. Let's... I definitely moved. I like quadruple checked our railroad repair engineers. Yeah, let's do it. Let's hit... Oh, let's look at losses. Info screens. So our turn. We lost heavily again in infantry. It is mounting. 219,000 losses. Whew, boy. That's quite a number. Yeah, and again, guns just skyrocket each turn. Well, we are attacking across the entire eastern front, so yeah, that is a lot of losses. 91 tanks again. Taken out of 30, 22, 32, 38. About 40 of them are Panzer 38s, and this group of tanks right here, the bulk of them came from there. Yeah, Soviets though, 156,000 this turn. So that's very impressive. And 1,984 guns. 20,000 guns and 892 tanks. So yeah, we caused a lot of casualties as Soviets this turn. But not at no small price of our own. Alright. Let's do it. Oh boy, last week of August. I don't think we're too vulnerable in any particular spot, so I think we're ready for wherever they're going to attack. Famous last words. Yeah, Basad already moving out of there. I think they're going to give up that river. What are you going to do in Kiev? I wonder. Alright, they're moving. Just where to? Oh, look at that. Look at that. Those 3 tank divisions that were on the hills, they pulled that over the river. I don't think they're going to get away in time. We may be able to snare them. I think that's probably 300 per division, 300 tanks per division. I think that was about the average complement of the Soviets. Are you pulling back again? Not all units are rendered during these turns, so don't get too excited when you see all those open hexes. Veliky Luki, another major town, city. Will be take that. Oh, they gave up Bryansk, I think. I think so. Oh, they don't like the fact that they're experiencing a little bit of a their flanks are a little threatened on Army Group North's frontage as we were making those mini breakouts. Well, they don't really have much there, so it's kind of a localized attack. Aha, yeah. There's that shoulder. That's where they can mass the most. Yeah, annoying. Good, hold out. Annoying. How dare they attack us? Ooh. Yep. Again? Is that the same one they attacked? I think so. Huh. Hey, they're being stubborn. They're fighting back. Yeah, they don't like they enjoy it when our Axis miners are up against them. Ah, it's good I had 3rd Panzer Corps back there. Well, they do some damage, but it kind of sometimes plays into our hands when they attack and extend themselves and they get out of their stacks. I'm thinking I'll shift. Seeing those attacks as they mass up and they're not retreating, we may be able to get behind them if we shift our axis of attack again north with Army Group Center. Because I don't think I'm going to grab all those strung out Soviet formations. They're just going to keep retreating. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see what it looks like in front of Tula. Attack through that sector north of Bryansk. Get up behind those divisions there. Army Group South is a little bit concerning right now, only because those forces they had rushed in, now the Soviets themselves are going over to a little bit of I won't say an offensive, but they have enough now to attack consistently each turn unless we start doing something about it. Hopefully success in the Cherkasy bridgehead will make them pull out forces to plug some holes. Alright. Interesting. Let's see what kind of losses they caused. $19,000 and 81 tanks again. Huh. And they lost 52. Yeah, well, they're attacking where the odds are absolutely the best for them, so they lost 200 tanks during those attacks. Wowdy. It doesn't look like they were at 1,600,000 last turn, and we had caused over 150,000 losses last turn, and I don't think that was applied to their total permanent losses. We'll have to look at that. Huh. Because that didn't seem to climb at all. Because I don't know, my math, I believe it was 160,000 and change. We apply 150, that should have made it at least into the 170, so it would be closing into 2 million. Alright, let's see what that's about. Okay, so real quick. Partisan. No. Already starting. Doggone it. We're gonna annoying. Oh, so look at the concentration. I think they sent some divisions this way. No, because these We'll have to do some aerial recon, and it will show again, I believe, a massive amount of forces there. Okay. Where were those attacks on us? Oh. Yeah. Trying to get away. Where was those attacks? I think it was here, and then they kind of redistributed. Okay. I think it was up here. We'll do some recon, and maybe I was thinking of attacking north and east. Well, we'll see. We're gonna look at this overall picture and come up with some plans. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed. Getting very interesting, and oh dear, September. Oh, did our railhead make any difference for fuel? Oh, 42 and 30. 48. 33. All right. 58. 21. Yeah, still far away from. Better though. Better. And the next couple of weeks it will be even better with our fuel situation. What are they going to do down here? Anyway, it's been great, and really looking forward to the next week of fighting. Thank you for watching. This is First Fire Non-Assault Move out.